You can't finish anything, can you? Projects pile up like digital corpses. That Italian course sits abandoned at lesson 3. Your guitar collects dust. The business idea that felt electric 3 months ago now makes you cringe when you think about it. Every time you start something new, there's this explosion of excitement. You devour information like you're starving. You tell yourself this is different. This time you'll actually follow through. Then the feeling dies. You get bored. You move on. Society has a word for people like you: flaky, uncommitted, the classic jack of all trades, master of none. The shame compounds with each abandoned project. You wonder if something is fundamentally broken inside you. Why can't you just pick one thing and become excellent at it like everyone else seems to? But what if the diagnosis is wrong? What if you're not broken at all? What if your brain is wired for something entirely different? Something the modern world desperately needs but refuses to acknowledge? The difference between you and someone who masters a single skill isn't about character. It's about brain chemistry. When you start learning something new, your brain experiences what researchers call reward prediction error. Everything is novel. The learning curve is vertical. You're going from zero to competent rapidly, and that velocity of progress floods your system with dopamine. It's intoxicating. This is the novice high, and it's not fake enthusiasm. It's your brain correctly identifying rapid information gain. Then you hit the plateau. You understand the basics. The curve flattens. For your specific neural wiring, that means the dopamine shuts off like someone flipped a switch. Most people call this laziness. It's not. You're not refusing to work. You're refusing to work without neurochemical fuel. Your brain is in dopamine withdrawal, calculating that the energy required to push through isn't worth the diminishing returns. But here's what changes everything. The solution isn't to force yourself through sheer willpower. That's like trying to run a marathon on an empty stomach. You need a different approach. There's a specific brain region called the anterior midcingulate cortex. Think of it as your tenacity muscle. Research shows this area activates when you do things you don't want to do. Every time you quit at the first sign of discomfort, that muscle atrophies. Every time you push through just a little bit longer, it grows stronger. The strategy is simple but requires precision. When you feel that familiar urge to abandon ship, don't fight it with brute force. Use the 15% rule. If you plan to practice for 30 minutes and want to quit at 10, push to 12. That's it. 2 extra minutes. That microscopic gap between what you want to do and what you actually do is the repetition that builds strength. You're not trying to become a hero overnight. You're building capacity gradually. Over weeks and months, that weak muscle becomes capable of carrying you through the long plateaus where mastery actually lives. One more thing matters here. Your brain has been hijacked by supernormal stimuli. Social media, video games, infinite scroll feeds. They deliver dopamine without effort. Compared to that artificial intensity, real learning feels suffocating. You need a reset. Not some extreme digital detox, just strategic control during practice sessions. Phone in another room. Music off. Let yourself feel actual boredom. That uncomfortable emptiness isn't a problem to solve. It's your brain switching from consumption mode to creation mode. It's the clean slate required for deep encoding. Pick one thing, commit to 6 months. Not to become elite, just to experience pushing through the plateau. Use the 15% rule, train the muscle. Once you prove you can do this, everything changes. The label of quitter stops fitting. You're not broken. You just needed the right training protocol. That's the real shift. You're not learning to tolerate misery. You're learning that you're capable of more than you thought. The graveyard of hobbies in your house doesn't define you. It was just evidence of an untrained muscle. Now you know different. The shame dissolves when you understand the mechanism. You're not fundamentally flawed. You are just operating without a manual. 6 months from now, you'll look back at this moment and barely recognize the person who couldn't push through page 4 of that book. The muscle you're about to build doesn't just apply to one skill. It transfers to everything. Career pivots, difficult relationships, creative projects that demand years instead of weeks. This is the difference between drifting and directing your life. So stop waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. It won't. Motivation is the result of action, not the cause. Pick the thing. Set the timer. Push 15% past comfort. Do it again tomorrow. The brain you have right now is not the brain you're stuck with. You're about to prove that to yourself.